Molly, upon hearing this, interjected with a passionate plea. She recounted their encounter with the angry magic monkeys, emphasizing their successful defense against the creatures. However, she revealed that Lance had attacked them, causing severe internal damage, all in pursuit of the master's pouch of abundance. Molly, with a note of urgency in her voice, claimed that Lance had attempted to silence her by killing her to cover up his actions. She expressed gratitude to Theo for saving her life, allowing her to share her story. Sergio, addressing Theo directly, asked if it was true that Lance had been responsible for the deaths of both the master and her master, as well as attempting to kill her. Theo confirmed Molly's account, stating that Lance's attack on Molly prompted him to use his yin-yang shield to defend her. The physician, corroborating Theo's statement, mentioned that Lance's corpse showed no signs of internal damage, supporting the claim that he had not been attacked by the magic monkeys. Sergio, after considering the testimonies and evidence presented, made a decision. He expressed gratitude on behalf of the family for Molly and Theo's actions in preventing a criminal from escaping and protecting a member of their community. Sergio clarified that while they had reached a temporary conclusion, the final confirmation needed to come from the Lord of the House. He requested Molly and Theo to stay a while longer as they awaited the Lord's summons. Theo acknowledged the request and agreed to extend his stay as instructed. Theo felt relieved that the situation had been resolved. Content with the outcome, he decided to remain on the sidelines quietly, as his intention in coming had solely been to assist. After some time, a retainer informed Theo that the Lord of the House wished to meet him. Theo agreed to follow and was escorted to the designated location. Upon arrival, a servant instructed Theo to leave his pouch of abundance outside before entering. Theo complied with the request and prepared to go inside as directed, where the Lord was waiting to see him. Theo respectfully greeted the Lord of the House, addressing himself as a junior. Martin, the head of Mount White sect, recognized Theo and invited him to take a seat. Expressing his surprise at Theo's visit, Martin conveyed his admiration for the alchemist who had vanquished the Y family. Theo, humbled by the praise, acknowledged the sentiment with gratitude. Theo contemplated how the Y family kept their members silent about the incident, and the Yi family avoided discussing it, wondering how the head of Mount White sect was aware. Martin expressed his amazement at Theo's accomplishments, marveling at how Theo had single-handedly defeated 4 Law of Spirit energy alchemists, 2 of whom were at the mid-stage level. Theo modestly attributed his success to luck. Martin, still impressed, cautioned Theo to be cautious, highlighting the unforgiving nature of the Y family's head. Theo thanked Martin for his concern, acknowledging the potential risks involved. Martin, internally impressed by Theo's unassuming appearance contrasted with his remarkable feat of defeating 4 alchemists, acknowledged that Theo's achievement was indeed genuine. He admired Theo's humble demeanor, considering his considerable accomplishments at a young age. Martin inquired about the sect Theo belonged to, prompting Theo to reveal that he was not affiliated with any sect. Instead, he disclosed that he had been educated in alchemy and craftsmanship by a master who had taken him in during his youth. Martin inquired about Theo's master's name, to which Theo responded that his master was not from the Daewon province, making it unlikely for Martin to be familiar with him. Theo mentioned that it had been a long time since his master's passing, indicating that there might not be anyone who remembers him. Acknowledging Theo's response, Martin shifted the conversation to Theo's stay at the sect. Theo expressed that he found everything well organized and gained insight into how the sect maintained its prestigious position. Martin chuckled in response, pleased with Theo's observations. Martin reflected on the current state of the sect, noting that it lacked many aspects compared to its past glory. The loss of 2 Law of Spirit energy alchemists, with the culprit being a disciple, was a significant blow that threatened to tarnish the sect's reputation. Additionally, being at the mercy of the nearby Iron Rock sect added to their challenges. Considering the circumstances, Martin believed that having an alchemist like Theo join the sect during such trying times would be highly advantageous and beneficial for their future. Martin expressed the sect's desire to establish a strong relationship with Theo, acknowledging that Theo had handled tasks that were meant for the sect. He extended an invitation for Theo to become a disciple of Mount White sect. Theo was taken by surprise at the unexpected offer. Martin exclaimed that he would set aside his pride to woo Theo. He promised to bestow upon Theo generous amounts of elixirs and spirit stones. Additionally, he pledged to grant Theo the esteemed position of an elder once he reached the final stages of the Law of Spirit energy. Martin assured Theo that the journey to this pinnacle would not exceed 100 years. vowing to ensure Theo's swift progression. Theo found the situation a bit perplexing. His initial intention was only to establish relations with Mount White sect, not to join it. He valued his freedom and preferred not to be bound to a sect. However, Theo recognized that receiving support from a sect as prestigious as Mount White could be immensely beneficial in his endeavors. Theo expressed his surprise at the sudden turn of events. Martin, understanding Theo's hesitation, reassured him and acknowledged the difficulty of making an immediate decision. He informed Theo about the 3 Breath of the Sun alchemists within the sect, mentioning that 2 were currently occupied with training, but 1 resided at the Sanctioned Palace. Martin offered to introduce Theo to this alchemist and arrange for training assistance. Theo found the offer to be very tempting, but he knew that he couldn't stay in the Daewon province indefinitely. He expressed gratitude for the generous offer but made it clear that he had no intentions of remaining in the province permanently. Theo acknowledged that although he couldn't specify when he would depart, he was certain that one day he would leave. He emphasized that even if he were to become a disciple of the sect and accept all the support offered, it wouldn't be right for him to suddenly depart in the future. Martin pondered Theo's words, considering the possibility that Theo might eventually decide to stay. He proposed a compromise, suggesting that Theo become an outsider disciple instead. By taking on this role, Theo would have the freedom to depart for a foreign country without any constraints. Martin explained that Mount White sect actively welcomed outsider disciples, offering protection and guidance while allowing them the liberty to leave at will. However, there would be some limitations in terms of access to certain alchemy and craftsmanship teachings. Martin assured Theo that while they couldn't provide full support like an official disciple, he was committed to offering the best assistance possible. He even hinted that Theo might reconsider his decision in the future and opt to become an official disciple. Theo sought clarification on whether he would be permitted to leave Mount White for extended periods if he followed Martin's suggestion. Martin confirmed this arrangement, assuring Theo that his freedom to depart for several years at a time would be contingent upon the Lord of the House's approval. Acknowledging Theo's decision, Martin commended him for his choice. As a token of appreciation, Martin presented Theo with a valuable gift, the Great Protection Elixir. He emphasized that it was a gift from him to Theo. Furthermore, Martin promised that if Theo reached the final stages of the Law of Spirit Energy, he would be granted the position of an elder, irrespective of his status as an outsider disciple. He encouraged Theo to train diligently to achieve this goal. Theo was initially apprehensive about potentially making the wrong choice, but his fears were alleviated when he received the Great Protection Elixir as a gift. Grateful for the gesture, Theo felt a deep sense of gratitude and vowed to reciprocate the same level of sincerity and generosity to Mount White sect in the future. Molly expressed her anguish, feeling a sense of detachment from the other masters and sect disciples after the loss of her master. Despite receiving condolences, she felt a profound sense of loneliness. In her distress, she even contemplated whether it would have been better for her to have met the same fate as Lance. In a surprising turn of events, Manhwa, the fragrance tracer feline, suddenly leaped onto Molly's shoulder, catching her off guard. Molly, astonished by Manhwa's presence, recognized the rarity of magic beasts in Chongyo Mountain and speculated that Manhwa had been hiding in the ice caps. Theo chimed in, sharing that Manhwa enjoyed winter coconut fruits. He suggested cutting one in half and feeding it to Manhwa, as the feline would appreciate the treat. Molly expressed her surprise at Theo taming a fragrance tracer feline, acknowledging the rarity and difficulty of finding such creatures. She complimented the choice of the name Manhwa, finding it cute and fitting for the feline. Theo explained that Manhwa could be mischievous at times but was also playful, which inspired the chosen name. Shifting the conversation, Theo inquired whether Molly intended to continue avoiding her sect disciples. Molly praised Theo for achieving the status of a 5-star Law of Spirit Energy alchemist shortly after joining a sect as a disciple. She admired his rapid progress, highlighting that becoming a young, mid-class Law of Spirit Energy alchemist was a dream for many. Not only did the sect leader hold Theo in high regard, but he was also esteemed by everyone in general. Rumors were circulating that Theo might even become the youngest Breath of the Sun alchemist. However, Molly expressed her own concerns, finding it challenging to overcome the 1 in 10 odds to reach the Law of Spirit Energy, especially without the guidance of a master. Theo reassured Molly, questioning the necessity of becoming someone's disciple when she had already acquired comprehensive knowledge. He pointed out that she possessed the Niden of a superior magic beast, rightfully hers to utilize. Addressing a potential issue, Theo asked if the problem lay in her inability to use the Niden as desired. Theo offered to craft the Niden into an elixir for Molly's consumption. He assured her that if anyone inquired about its origin, attributing it to him would prevent any questioning. Theo had intended to create an elixir for Wanwan and decided to do the same for Molly. Feeling guilty for leaving Molly alone, he felt compelled to offer his support. Gratefully accepting Theo's offer, Molly expressed her thanks. In a heartfelt moment, Theo shared the story of his own past, revealing that his master had passed away when he was a heavenly birth alchemist. Encouraging Molly, Theo emphasized that her master had laid the foundation for her growth, and it was now her responsibility to fulfill her potential. He commended her master's training and advised Molly to persevere in her training without giving up, assuring her that she would see positive results. Theo mentioned that as it was the library of the White Mountain sect, it likely contained numerous records and books on crafts and sorcery from predecessors. Before beginning to create the elixir with the beast's Niden, Theo decided to make a stop at the library to explore the resources available. As Theo knocked on the table, a young child woke up. Upon questioning, the child, Ethan, confirmed that even outsider disciples could access the library but were restricted from certain sections. Ethan welcomed Theo to stay and read but mentioned the limitation on accessing the restricted area. Theo inquired if he could borrow books to read during his visit to the library. Ethan informed Theo that any alchemist who had reached the level of Law of Spirit Energy or above could borrow up to 100 books from the library. However, they were only allowed to take the books within the sect grounds. Theo was cautioned that taking the books outside or causing damage might lead to punishment in accordance with sect rules. Acknowledging the guidelines, Theo told Ethan to resume his tasks and indicated that he would explore the library on his own. He empathized with Ethan's busyness, feeling a hint of regret for interrupting his work. Ethan thought to himself that family disciples rarely visited the library due to their busy training schedules, finding it unusual that disciple Theo took an interest in exploring it. After some time, Theo confirmed that he had selected exactly 100 books. Ethan reminded Theo that he had to return all the books within a month. Theo assured him that he would return them on time. Amused by Theo's enthusiasm, Ethan chuckled and agreed to keep Theo's commitment in mind. Becoming an outsider disciple of the White Mountain sect had its perks for Theo, with the highlight being granted access to their library. Theo realized that this privilege might be more valuable than even their treasure vaults that stored the sect's wealth. For a long-established sect, the true wealth lay in the knowledge contained within the books. As Theo worked on making the elixir from magic beasts Niden for Molly and Wanwan, he planned to immerse himself in reading the books from the sect's library, recognizing the immense value of the wisdom and information preserved within those pages. 2 weeks later, Ethan expressed surprise, asking Theo if he had managed to read all 100 books borrowed from the library. Theo, noticing Ethan's reaction, inferred that Ethan hadn't anticipated him finishing all the books within such a short period. Reflecting on his progress, Theo thought about the value of the knowledge he had gained. He found the chant of black ice particularly useful, as he was able to memorize it swiftly. However, he lamented the limitation of only being able to borrow 100 books at a time, feeling a sense of regret that he couldn't access more of the library's wealth of information simultaneously. Theo stumbled upon a book titled Sect Founder, authored by an elder mid-class breath of the sun alchemist named Louis. As Theo delved into the book, he discovered Louis's narrative critiquing the sect founder, Jerry. According to Louis's account, Jerry was a yin and yang alchemist who emerged in the Yang province, quickly becoming revered by many alchemists for his benevolence and justice. Jerry then established the White Mountain sect on the mountain. In a notable martial arts duel, Jerry defeated the lord of the Taoist temple in the Yang province using his White Thunder Shot technique. Louis recalled witnessing a similar technique, the White Dragon's secret sword art, performed by an elder of the Sangsan sect, prompting questions about Jerry's origins and motives. Puzzled by the contents of the book, Theo expressed disbelief at the unexpected revelations and questioned the unsettling conclusion of Louis's narrative. Deciding to shift his focus, Theo resolved to complete the elixirs for Molly and Wanwan. A couple of days later, Theo remarked to Ethan about his seemingly unoccupied state. Ethan, feeling apologetic, responded to Theo's observation. Surprising Ethan, Theo handed him a high-class spirit stone. Astonished by the unexpected gift, Ethan questioned Theo about the purpose of the high-class spirit stone and why he was presenting it to him. Theo inquired if Ethan was familiar with the name Louis. Ethan indicated that he had no knowledge of Louis, speculating that Louis might not be a disciple of the sect. Theo clarified that he wanted Ethan to search for all the books left behind by Louis, emphasizing that Louis had been active during the time of the sect founder, indicating that it had been a considerable period since his activities. Ethan responded to Theo's request, saying he would look for the books. After some time, he returned, stating that he had found something. Theo inquired about the discovery, and Ethan explained that he recognized the name Louis and began searching. However, he found the books in the list of books within the restricted section. Confused, Theo questioned why the books were in the restricted section. Ethan explained that the sect leader had asked him to move those specific books to the restricted section, but he didn't understand the reasoning behind it. Theo, surprised, confirmed that Ethan was referring to the current sect leader. Ethan confirmed that the sect leader was very attentive to details and likely had a specific reason for moving the books. Theo inquired about accessibility to the restricted section, and Ethan confirmed that only sect elders or higher-ranking individuals were permitted to enter. Finally, Theo asked how many books were in the restricted section, and Ethan replied that there were 3. Theo expressed disappointment but decided to leave. Ethan, however, suggested another approach. Theo inquired about the alternative, prompting Ethan to explain that on the first day of every month, the restricted section was opened for inspection since the handwritten records didn't have dedicated caretakers. Ethan offered to sneak the books out during that time if Theo wished. Theo expressed his preference for trustworthy individuals, indicating his appreciation for reliable people. Ethan, although cautious about the potential consequences, assured Theo that he knew how to handle the situation to avoid punishment. Theo offered Ethan 5 high-class spirit stones as an initial reward for obtaining the books, with the promise of an additional 5 high-class stones if the task was successfully completed. Theo mentioned that 10 high-class stones would be sufficient for acquiring any superior Dharma tool. Excited by the prospect, Ethan enthusiastically agreed to Theo's proposal, affirming that he wouldn't disappoint him. On the first day of the following month, Theo finally obtained sect ancestor Louis' handwritten records. Eager to learn more, Theo began reading through the books. Louis' narrative continued, describing how the White Mountain sect's reputation soared after their victory against the alchemists of the Yang Province Taoist Temple. As the sect's stature grew, Louis was burdened with more responsibilities, leading to decades of competition with other sects. Eventually, Louis found time to return to his hometown in Wanam Province, pursuing his speculations about Jerry's connection to the Sangsen sect. Louis discovered a disturbing incident. A sect elder, who had achieved the level of vitality of Yin and Yang, vanished after murdering 3 sect members, including another elder. Despite the extensive search, the elder remained missing, leading Louis to believe that Jerry was the perpetrator. Louis questioned the motive behind Jerry's heinous act, concluding that the most plausible explanation was that the 4 individuals had stumbled upon a great treasure, and Jerry had killed the others to claim it for himself. Louis inquired about the whereabouts of the sect leader upon returning to the sect. A man informed Louis that the sect leader had departed, prompting Louis' surprise. When Louis pressed for details on the sect leader's destination, the man explained that while no explicit information was provided, it was presumed that the sect leader, having attained mid-class vitality of Yin and Yang, had likely embarked on a quest to achieve immortality. Louis was left pondering the man's explanation, questioning the sect leader's motives. If his primary goal was to become an immortal being, why had he established the White Mountain sect in the first place? Time passed, but Louis couldn't shake the questions that lingered in his mind. How could the murderer who killed the 4 Dongmoon brothers have left to become a deity? Why would he create the Mount White sect? It didn't seem to benefit him in any way. Everything about Jerry was suspicious. The White Thundershot technique he passed down was just a slightly altered version of the White Dragon's secret sword arts, renamed. No one knew if Master Jerry was real. Yet, Jerry built a luxurious temple and restricted the area around it. In Louis' tale, the restriction around the temple persisted over time. Despite his efforts, he returned without discovering any significant findings. The meticulously maintained place raised questions about its purpose. Could this temple hold the key to why Jerry founded the Mount White sect and be linked to his hidden agenda? As decades slipped by, Louis dedicated years in pursuit of any clues about Jerry. Before his time came to an end, he left behind these parting thoughts. Louis' skepticism towards Jerry remained unshaken. Theo realized that finding the truth would be difficult, as the handwritten record dated back 7,000 years. It was impossible to know if Jerry had truly become a deity. If Louis' theory was correct, why did Jerry kill the 4 brothers? Was it really for the treasure? So why did he create the Mount White sect? Theo knew the temple was off-limits, but he felt compelled to go there. Theo arrived at the supposed restricted temple and noticed the absence of guards. Surprisingly, there were no magic barriers or traps in place, suggesting that the area was neglected and not adequately protected. Theo called out to Wanwan, mentioning the magic beast maidens that had been taken. He asked Wanwan to be of assistance and inquired if there was anything unusual in the surroundings. Noticing Wanwan's lack of reaction, Theo concluded that everything seemed normal and instructed Wanwan to return inside. Theo observed two portraits, assuming the handsome one on the right was Jerry. He speculated that something might be hidden in front of the altar but dismissed the idea, considering it too simplistic for Louis to have spent decades searching. Scouring every corner of the temple, Theo wondered if the answer lay in the most obvious place. Despite checking the ceiling and under various spots, including activating key detection, nothing significant was found. Theo questioned if there truly was nothing to uncover, even after thoroughly investigating every nook and cranny of the temple. In a sudden realization, Theo remembered the Needle of Wisdom. Recalling how Nolan navigated through the rift with the Needle of Wisdom, he thought about Nolan's successful discovery of the Old Palace passageway. Theo realized that the Needle of Wisdom was pointing in a specific direction, suggesting the presence of a location with higher spirit energy concentration than the temple. Contemplating this, he considered that the secret might not be confined solely to the interior of the temple but could encompass the entire restricted area. Noticing the needle spinning rapidly in a particular direction, Theo followed its guidance. Determined and curious, he flew towards the direction indicated by the needle, eager to uncover the hidden truth. With determination in his heart, Theo set off towards the destination, ready to explore further. Theo deduced that the secret must lie below and decided to clear the obstructive snow. Utilizing the power of the wind of determination, he swept away the snow that had accumulated. Considering the restricted nature of the area and the vast expanse of ice, Theo reasoned that few individuals had ventured there. The enduring presence of ice and snow for 7 millennia explained why the secret had remained hidden all this time, evading discovery by others. Theo retrieved his sword Dharma tool from the pouch and struck the icy-covered spot. Observing the Needle of Wisdom spinning faster than previously, he intuited that something significant lay within the gray rock. Theo then employed the inner binding seal technique, securing the rock with the mystical seal. With determination and focus, Theo successfully fastened the rock using the inner binding seal. Theo descended beneath the rock and discovered an area below, a man-made cave. Intrigued by the prospect of uncovering something extraordinary inside, he ventured further. As he delved deeper, Theo encountered an intense freezing cold that surpassed any chill he had experienced since infancy. The Needle of Wisdom spun uncontrollably, accelerating as he continued exploring the depths of the cave. Sensing the escalating pace of the needle and the ominous cold, Theo prepared himself by readying the graceful shield, anticipating the need for protection as he ventured further into the unknown depths of the cave. Theo was taken aback by the unexpected sight before him, a frozen old man. Strangely, this man did not resemble any of the individuals depicted in the portraits. Contradicting Louis' description of Jerry as a handsome man, the frozen figure did not match that portrayal. Doubts filled Theo's mind as he pondered the identity of this unknown individual. If he wasn't Jerry, then who could he be? Theo wondered if other alchemists were responsible for the frozen state of the old man, prompting questions about the mysterious circumstances surrounding him. Theo noticed an ice crystal flower and remarked on its presence. Seeking Wanwan's opinion, he called for the companion but quickly realized the intense cold might be too much for Wanwan to endure, allowing the creature to retreat to a warmer place. Examining the ice crystal flower closely, Theo speculated that it was formed from the dense energy in the surroundings. However, he hesitated to touch it, fearing that he might suffer the same frozen fate as the old man if he made contact with the icy creation. Martin, accompanied by the elders, questioned Theo's presence in the restricted area. Startled by their sudden appearance, Theo realized he had been lost in thought, inadvertently letting his guard down. Martin emphasized the area's restricted status and inquired about Theo's reasons for being there, prompting Theo to consider how to explain his unexpected presence in the forbidden location. Theo acknowledged the arrival of the sect leader, elders, and the Lord of Jurisdiction. Martin, noticing Theo's apparent unfamiliarity with sect rules, explained that the temple was a forbidden place for everyone, even for him as the sect leader. The Lord of Jurisdiction was then asked to pronounce the punishment for violating the entry rules. Sergio, the Lord of Jurisdiction, declared the punishment, breaking the offender's nidin, dismembering their arms and legs, and silencing them by severing their tongue to prevent them from spreading word of the transgression. Martin expressed surprise at the severity of the punishment and questioned if accidental entries warranted the same consequences. Sergio clarified that in such instances, the sect leader could exercise discretion based on individual circumstances to mitigate the severity of the punishment. Reflecting on Theo's situation, Martin acknowledged his responsibility to decide Theo's fate. Rather than punishment, Martin felt inclined to reward Theo for resolving a long-standing dilemma that had been troubling him. Grateful for Theo's unintentional assistance, Martin contemplated offering recognition instead of retribution. Martin outlined the secretive task assigned to the disciples working at the library, emphasizing the importance of reporting any disciple who accessed the records of Louis directly to him. While previous disciples had been lackluster in their duties, Theo stood out as an exception. Impressed by Theo's discovery of the hidden location, Martin sought an explanation for how Theo had managed to find a place that had eluded everyone else's detection. The unique ability Theo displayed in uncovering the secluded area piqued Martin's curiosity and admiration for Theo's exceptional skills. Elder Seth voiced his impatience, questioning the delay in Theo's punishment and suggesting a thorough examination of the cave first. Sergio redirected attention to the sect leader's authority, emphasizing the need to heed his instructions. Seth, frustrated by the situation, criticized Theo for what he perceived as a waste of time. He expressed annoyance at being summoned in the middle of the night to address what he considered nonsensical matters. One elder urged a swift search for the treasure, emphasizing the importance of starting the exploration promptly. Meanwhile, another elder supported Seth's suggestion, proposing that exploring the cave should take precedence if the sect founder's treasures were indeed hidden within. Internally seething with frustration, Martin lamented the lack of understanding among the elders regarding the challenges of locating the cave. Feeling powerless against their decisions, Martin grappled with his limited authority as a middle-stage law of spirit energy alchemist. Ultimately, he reluctantly decided to postpone Theo's punishment for the time being. Martin acknowledged and accepted the collective decision of the elders. He emphasized the importance of working together to unravel the mysteries surrounding the frozen old man and the cave. Discovering the sect founder's treasures left for future generations was deemed crucial, potentially elevating the sect's status to one of the best. Turning his attention to Theo, Martin issued a warning, cautioning him against attempting to escape the cave secretly. He emphasized the consequences of such an act, highlighting that any attempt to flee would result in Theo being labeled as an actual criminal, urging Theo to conduct himself appropriately in the given situation. Elder Seth expressed frustration at the lack of notable discoveries despite a thorough search of the cave. Drawing attention to an object of interest, he turned to the sect leader, Martin, seeking his insight due to his perceived intelligence. Graciously accepting the compliment, Martin admitted his unfamiliarity with the object. Seth pondered the significance of the object, emphasizing that if its purpose remained elusive, even treasures could be deemed worthless. Proposing further examination, Seth suggested removing the treasure from the old man for closer inspection and evaluation. As Seth attempted to retrieve the treasure, his finger began to freeze, causing him discomfort. Contemplating the situation, he questioned the morality of seizing the treasure, expressing gratitude for the founder's gift to future generations but feeling conflicted about the means to acquire it. Martin, in response to Seth's query, clarified that his knowledge of the treasures was solely derived from books. He emphasized that his decision to pursue the treasures was an independent conclusion drawn after thorough examination of the records, indicating a well-considered and informed choice. Seth scoffed at the discouraging notion that the presence of treasure was uncertain, questioning the founder's commitment to the sect after supposedly leaving for personal training. In response to Seth's disrespectful remarks, Martin sternly reminded him to refrain from speaking disrespectfully. Martin defended his beliefs by highlighting the discovery of the man-made cave as evidence supporting his conclusions. The existence of the hidden cave validated his theories to some extent, reinforcing the validity of his investigative efforts. Martin addressed Theo directly, acknowledging his role in discovering the hidden cave, and prompting him to share any insights regarding the old man and the ice within. Theo humbly admitted that his arrival in the cave was largely due to luck and uncertainty clouded his observations. Theo suggested that adding spiritual energy to the object might trigger a reaction, hinting at potential uses that could be explored further. Despite the uncertainty, he expressed willingness to experiment with the object to test his theory. Theo decided to cautiously approach the situation by using only a third of his energy, unsure of the outcome. Initially met with silence, he contemplated halting the experiment. However, to his surprise and relief, a response eventually emerged. Pleased with the progress, Theo opted to conserve his energy for the time being, satisfied with the initial indication of a reaction from the object. Theo informed the group that he had depleted his energy and could no longer continue. Acknowledging the object's reaction to spiritual energy, Martin suggested pouring more energy into it for further observation but noted that his level of training was similar to Theo's and might not suffice. Seth volunteered to attempt the next step. Martin agreed to Seth's offer, giving him the responsibility. Observing Seth's efforts, Martin intervened, advising him to conserve his latent spiritual energy and take a moment to recover. In a coordinated effort, the three elders and the Lord of Jurisdiction initiated the Quaternary Palace, a significant and powerful technique, signaling a united and concentrated effort among the group. Martin expressed relief that the ice had not been damaged in the process, indicating that the object did not appear to be designed as a talisman for efficient energy absorption. Impressed by its resilience, he noted that it successfully withstood the combined energy of 4 high-level Law of Spirit energy alchemists. Realizing the extraordinary nature of the ice crystal, Martin anticipated that its significance would elevate the sect's reputation. The successful demonstration of power and the object's durability hinted at its exceptional value, hinting at the potential for enhancing the sect's standing within the realm. The elder expressed exhaustion, acknowledging the need to halt their efforts. Seth, in contrast, marveled at the ice crystal blossoming like a flower, revealing a clear marble within. Intrigued by the discovery, Martin decided to investigate further. Upon closer examination, Martin noted the inexplicable extreme cold emanating from the clear marble. Cautiously handling the object, he recognized the potential dangers of mishandling it. Despite its unique properties, Martin deduced that the clear icy marble was unlike any known elixir, leading him to question its true nature and purpose. Martin, recognizing the potential danger of touching the icy marble, decided to place it carefully on the ground to avoid harm. He then directed the group to focus on examining the ice crystal and the frozen old man. Upon closer inspection, they realized that the old man was likely an alchemist who froze while attempting to interact with the ice crystal. One of the elders concurred with the assessment, noting the lack of evidence indicating the man's ancestral connection to the sect. Theo, observing the situation, suggested covering up the frozen alchemist rather than fully exposing him, showing care and respect for the mysterious figure found in the cave. In a surprising turn of events, Theo made a startling discovery, announcing that the frozen man was actually alive. Seth viewed this revelation as positive news and suggested healing and questioning the man. Considering the need for an elixir, Seth inquired if there was any elixir of purity left for the task. Martin, recognizing the value of the precious elixir, hesitated to use it on an unknown individual. Seth, understanding Martin's concerns, offered to provide his own elixir of purity for the man's healing, showing a willingness to assist and address the situation with care and generosity. Martin noted that the elder had securely bound the man with multiple layers of rope, suggesting they wait for him to wake up. Considering the situation, Martin proposed moving the man outside instead of dealing with it in the current location. Amidst the discussion, Theo heard a sound, only to witness the man suddenly standing. Surprised by the man's sudden movement, Theo expressed astonishment. The elder confirmed the man's awakening, while Martin speculated that the man might still be groggy from being half asleep and touching the cold object with his bare hands. The man, now awake and visibly upset, clenched his fists in anger, questioning the group if they were the ones who had awakened him, showing signs of agitation and confusion.
Go, go.